I'm realizing, oh, these are more sci-fi books here. And what are we even doing, you know? Looking at books. You call this entertainment? I don't know. You're easy to please, I guess. That's cool. No, honestly, my channel was inspired by another YouTube channel where I'm like, I can't believe how just fine I am with watching just this. It was my friend Chris talking about books, channel Liminal Spaces. And I'm like, this is perfectly entertaining. I used to watch C-SPAN books, you know? I think learning cool stuff and talking about books and hearing about what's out there. I love a good recommend. I love like a book full of recommends, like Nick Hornby's stuff you should know. No, stuff I've been reading. Yeah, this needs to go in weird books. The Amityville Horror. I used to know someone from the Lutz family who bragged about being in that family. I was connected to this. And I don't know why. I feel like I have a memory of going by and seeing that original location when I really hadn't watched a lot of Amityville horror films. But I don't totally trust that memory. I'm like, did I watch a documentary? I have traveled around the East Coast a bit. I just remember having a thought, like, that doesn't really look like it. But maybe it was a dream. These were on that shelf again, so I can look at them a third time. Raymond Z. Galloon. All I know is he wrote this with its hilarious cover. But mainly this. This is the only one I read. So good. So amazing. Just like one of the best sci-fi stories ever. Contact meets the Matrix. Aliens send a perfect virtual reality plan. All of humanity goes inside it and lives forever, creating their realities into exactly whatever they want. And they can choose to be ignorant that they're doing so that they can have like completely new experiences over and over, or they can choose to be aware. They can choose to expand their consciousness as large as they want to, even to the equals of the people that create it. It's so cool, but most people can't bear it and don't like to stay there. Anything that humans can think of and desire for exists, and like even depraved humans continue to exist and make like worlds of suffering. And like the suffering within them is real, and people protest with the aliens, and they're like, we don't know any other way to do this. What is better? Is it better to snuff any of these out completely? Like, what would you do? It's so interesting. And this couple's like that meet up again and again over millions of years in different incarnations, realizing each other over and over again. This is so good. Why is this not a show? It should totally be a show. I'd like to write a script for this, at least for a movie someday. It's definitely in the top of my list of things I'd like to adapt. This, Let Us Now Praise Famous Men, Montana Gothic, Crime and Punishment, Ray Bradbury's The Scythe, Holy the Firm. I have a lot of books I'd like to adapt that I could see being really cool movies. And I would love to get to know the texts in that amazing way, like by literally recreating it in a different medium. That's so cool. Seems like it would be like an ultimate exploration of a text. It's so cool. Beyond scholarly exegesis, like recreating it in a different way, bringing it to life. Obsessing over the work in the meanwhile. Yeah, I think I would write it as a movie, but the movie would be a potential pilot for a show, because it's just such a world. You want to hang out in it forever. Anyway, everyone should read The Eden Cycle. It's up there. It should be a sci-fi classic that's never out of print, not an obscure paperback only. Like, this is the only version you'll ever see of The Eden Cycle. Oh wow, this is a first printing. So it was maybe never in hardback. Oh my gosh. So that probably means every copy I have of this is a first printing. That's cool. There's at least 3 around here, I think. You got to be safe with this one. Once I gave all my copies away and then I didn't have one and I wanted to read it. And then I was sad. Don't be like me. I always have this one on hand. I love Raja Zelazny. When I was reading all the New Mexico sci-fi, I realized I'm going to be reading a lot of Roger Zelazny, because he put New Mexico into all of his work. Not all of it, a lot. Even his multi-volume Amber fantasy series, which sounds pretty cool. It's like people attaining a higher consciousness, existing on some different realm, in our realm. It's an interesting idea. That's cool. I don't know what this one is. Did I read this? I feel like I did, but I don't remember. Creatures of Light and Darkness. Someone who's been dead for thousands of years that leads the legions of the dead. Prostrating himself before his master's throne, he says, "Hail Anubis, master of the house of the dead." Oh, cool. This is like if Anubis is real. Anubis laughs somewhere in the shadows. As if. Yeah, man, some sci-fi writers were on some freaky wavelengths, including Roger Zelazny. He's got some Philip K. Dick-like plots that are just mind-bending. They'll put your brain in crazy places. There's this one about this telepath that can't shut out all the voices of the world, and he begins hearing voices from other times. And so he goes to the moon to like escape everybody. But I think actually maybe that's where he starts hearing voices from other time and like voices of genius from long ago. He's like this telepath that like is strong. His ability is stronger than time and space. Even being on the other side of the moon, he can't escape it. And it's just really cool. What was that one called? Damnation something, I think. Oh, thinking of Damnation Alley, but I don't remember. Oh, beautiful paperback. Sounds cool. There's another Zelazny. I've read this one. It's about someone pairing up with like a formless shapeshifter, like in a symbiotic way, kind of like the Venom movies or something. Venom, that comic character. Or The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I have not read, but that's, pretty, it's kind of a cool sci-fi plot. It's a different kind of alien invasion, It's had all Zelazny's good takes. Some great sci-fi writers just write and like twist. They move so surprisingly and stuff. And oh wow, cool. I buy all Roger Zelazny because like the worst Roger Zelazny's I've ever read, I probably thought that was pretty good. I've never read anything bad by him. He's cool. This is great. I must have gone crazy at Don's books one time and just bought all the Zelazny. I don't remember having this much Zelazny. No regrets. Like that famous internet meme where someone has that tattooed on their neck. I thought I already looked at this one. I did. This is from one of the only like classic horror. There's some great horror covers like that you just can't pass up from the 80s. You're like, I don't care if this book totally sucks. It looks so cool. It's called like Slime Monster. Some of them literally have dramatic names like that. Oh man, so good. I looked at this one too, but maybe I should start looking at this one in every video. That's how good this cover is. Dang. Pretty awesome. And it's about, it's a cautionary tale against biofarming algae on the ocean. Ancient evil under the water. That's so cool. Where's Zelazny? This is one of his Amber books, Trumps of Doom. Hey, maybe that title feels resonant for somebody. Maybe not the singular. I don't know. Well, turn to Amber. My eyesight is really terrible lately. I'm so bummed about that. I need to get new glasses and bifocals and blah, blah, blah. Here's the first new adventure in the classic Amber series in over 5 years. The first book in a brand new trilogy from multi-award-winning author Roger Zelazny. Amber, the one real world of which all others, including our own Earths, are but shadows. Nice. I like the idea of like shuffling realities, because usually in like Oz or Wonderland, it's like you go there and then you're there and then you come back. This is like, no, this is the one true reality. What? Okay, I should read the Amber books, but should I read the second trilogy? Maybe I just should read whatever I have. Okay, El Sprague de Camp. I think this guy's a classic golden age sci-fi voice. Lest Darkness Fall. I mean, that's a great title and that's a great cover. I don't care what this book's about. I like it. I'm glad I own it. But let's see what it's about. When am I? Padway asked himself after the lightning flash knocked him down. He knew where he was, Rome. He was there to study archaeology, and even though the lightning had left him dazed, he could see the familiar Roman buildings. The buildings looked newer, and the crowds on the street were wearing tunics, not suits, and a rich barnyard smell had replaced the gasoline and garlic aroma of modern Rome. So when was he? And he was suddenly cold with fear of the answer. Sprague de Camp's rousing tale of an unwilling time traveler is a classic of imaginative writing and has sufficient ingenuity and suspense to please every reader. Cool. I hope he gets pulled around to like different times and not just gets stuck in Rome the whole time. Pyramid, like Kurt Vonnegut, has a character that becomes stuck in time, I know. Pyramid Science Fiction presents Pools Anderson's electric novel, New World's Orbit Unlimited. Whatever Pyramid books are sold. Cool. Little book ad. Yeah, this book's kind of awesome. I mean, it looks awesome. When am I? Also, I think Liminal Spaces, my friend Chris's YouTube channel, had some positive chatter on it once about El Sprague de Camp. Look at this. I bought this recently at Don's during a shopping trip I mentioned in that previous long video where I just went crazy. I was like, I want to look at all the most beautiful paperbacks here, sci-fi, that I would like, and then I'll read their synopses. And I'm just going to leave with an armful. I was like, and I'll only spend $10. And I only spent $20. But I got so many good ones. man, look at these saturated colors. Look at that. Like Van Gogh would like this. He'd be like, that's beautiful. Any great artist would admire this as an aesthetic object, I bet, because look at it. It is beautiful as an object. It's just striking. It smells nice. That's lignin, the stuff that makes trees not weep. And old bookstores. And actually, books can smell pretty gross because they also absorb smells. And it's like, these people had a cat. These people smoked. I mean, I picked up that, what was it, that hardcover, Thus Spake Zarathustra from a free box. That one right there, that one right over yonder. And like my eyes were watering in the car and I was sneezing. I mean, it was like so smoke infused. I'm like, were these people doing meth and reading Nietzsche? It's possible. I can think of a few people who probably have done that. Though I would never, ever do meth. Never. It looks like a one-way ticket to you're on the street and life sucks. I've never met like a well-adjusted meth head doing well. Oh yeah, I just use it, recreationally. No, they're always like, it's not good. I guess I knew one guy who was kind of a dabbler in it at one point because he was working all these crazy jobs. And he had a heart attack. That's how he stopped doing that. He's like, yeah, that was stupid. But to his credit, he quit and never went back. I mean, I don't even think he's that haunted by it anymore because he just got out of it so thoroughly and completely. Anyway, that is a great... Wow. Sorry, I just keep looking at it. Undersea Fleet. Frederick Pohl and Jack Williamson. Well, Jack Williamson's awesome. I'm sorry I haven't said anything about who wrote this book, anything. I'm just like, look at it. Look at this book. Ugh. It's stuff like this in the song Everyday People by Sly and the Family Stone that sometimes make me think a little like a parade where everyone just made a float for something different would be a really cool community event. And I would do it for that song and I would do it for this book cover, I think. And a bunch of other things. Different years. Be like, look at this book, everyone! And it'd be like blown up. I'd have a giant version of it, like 15 feet tall on top of my car, made out of paper mache. People would be like, that is really awesome. Glad you brought this to our attention. Do you sell posters of this? I'll say, you're in luck, it's out of print. Yes. Oh man, I'm kind of obsessed. I gotta pull myself away from this cover. And it's a wraparound. That's my favorite kind of cover. And look at the back, it's also awesome. Like the back is so awesome it could have been the front. Some painter is brilliant. I wonder if they even credit him. Here's betting they don't. On a record-breaking test at the 1,300-foot level, David Kraken swam out into the blackness and disappeared. There's no way for him to get back on his own, if indeed he were alive. Yet something brought him back. Nice. Huh. Well, Jack Williamson is great. Frederick Pohl. Have I read Pohl? Maybe. I think I have. I think I read half of a Frederick Pohl book and it got into my dreams. And then I lost it for a while. So I never finished it. No, I've read some Frederick Pohl. I definitely have read Frederick Pohl. I just can't remember what. When I was reading every book set in New Mexico in the future, every sci-fi book, and I feel like I did. I read all the ones I was aware of anyway. There's always more. And TV shows are a real complication. Like that show Roswell. I'm like, I'm not watching all these. I was in Silver City, though, once when they were filming Roswell there. They film Roswell in every town but Roswell. They're like, we do not like how this town looks. We do not want to use it in the show. Like, Silver City looks nothing like Roswell. It's so funny. But I was in Silver City, and they had turned this whole, drugstore, general store, into, a diner for the show. I think for the reboot of the show, yeah. Pretty sure of that. What are you going on about, Mike? Oh, what's this cool looking book? Amy, come home. Cry from the long dead past brings evil and terror across the centuries to haunt an innocent girl. Oh, look, she's floating. That's a great image. Oh, man, when my daughter Anodyne was really young, like 6 or 7, 8, I don't know, she was young, she did this amazing cubist life-size portrait of her floating over a lawn. And it was so incredible. This cover kind of reminds me of that. I still have that photo on my Facebook somewhere. I'm just like, my kid is brilliant. And it was all this thematic stuff. Yeah, parents are proud of their kids, but that was actually an amazing work. It made people gasp. When they see Guernica, they're like, what? That's so cool. Why can't kids great art, affecting art? What is art but something that affects you in some indirect way? It's beautiful. Kids are like conduits to the pure light of existence or something like that that comes out in their work sometimes. All their hopes and fears and all that stuff. Plus it's raw and like no one's told them how to do it yet, so that's kind of cool. That's what we love folk art for, and kid art is very similar sometimes. But also my kids are just like super brilliant. They really are. I'm like, dang. I'm going to post a clip sometime of my daughter's punk band from a couple years ago. I might post all the clips just so they're somewhere. Sorry, there's going to be some clips from a punk band called Sedation on this book channel. But sadly, that band broke up. Their guitarist got distracted or something. Bummer. They were so good. They were like rehearsing. They had this cool rehearsal space. I don't know. They really blew it. That band would have been signed in like a year or two if they'd stayed together. I used to be a music writer for a paper, and like I could just tell, you know. Again, I'm biased. It's my kid, but Anodyne's a force of nature. Someday I'll be known as her dad, or Sonora's dad, or Hagen's dad, or Willow's dad, like, or all of them, because, like, even if I'm writing a giant memoir, I think my kids are like, they're just such big presences. And I'm like, I don't think that's just me that thinks that. I think it's them. Again, every parent is biased, but I also think I'm right. Why am I going off on that? Oh, because my daughter's cubist drawing, and this is a similar image of a woman floating. But my kid had never seen this book. I didn't have this book then. Maybe that's an unconscious archetype. Maybe that's how women feel sometime in the world, or how everybody feels. It's kind of weightless. You know, it's hard to keep your feet on the ground. But this looks like a gothic ghosty story, I think. And I think it's part of like a larger trend called neo-gothic. 1968. So not, part of like that original like Bronte era. You know, cutest cat today in my neighborhood. I may make that cat the thumbnail for this video. If anybody out there wants a really cute black and white cat, this little stray is getting braver and braver and eating food on my porch now. My rent contract only lets me have 2 pets, but maybe we could find somebody out there near to Albuquerque or wanting to do a random road trip or something. We could get this cat a home. Mike, just talk about books. All right, but let's get that cat a home. Here's another book from Philip Jose Farmer, a novel of Riverworld. Oh, I might have another book in this series. Did I look at that yesterday? Well, I couldn't find it just now, perusing the shelves. I must have imagined it or put it away somewhere, or it's in the stack somehow again. Weird. Novel of Riverworld. That's a wild cover. I don't know that I love it artistically, but it's it swings big. Wow. I don't know. Maybe it's an alright cover. It's kind of random. Looks like it's symbolic, probably. 1972 Best Science Fiction Novel of the Year. Hugo Award. It's like a riverboat spaceship, maybe? Or an anti-gravity thing. Welcome to Riverworld. It is not like our world or any world that can be imagined by anyone but Philip Jose Farmer. It is huge and mysterious. It has a central river rimmed by mountains with a hidden source and an unknown end. Reborn there is every last soul who ever lived on Earth, from prehistoric ape-men to moon-dwelling future civilizations. Reborn there is Sir Richard Francis Burton, translator of the Arabian Nights, explorer, brawler, scholar, womanizer, adventurer. His quest to discover the end of the river, the meaning of this world's existence, and lovely Alice Hargreaves, the real-life model for Alice in Wonderland, form a science fiction adventure that is already recognized as a classic. I think I now have 2 copies of this book. I just got one from a teacher's room, and now I know from who. From a woman who's retiring named Roban. And she's getting rid of a bunch of her books, and she has good stuff. Leaving it in the teacher's lounge at this high school where I'm working. I've gotten like 3 books from her, I think, now. I also got Anthropology for Dummies and a book on modernism in art. I read this from the Manzano Library when I was in high school. I was one of those kids that like loved the school library. Like every school I ever had growing up, I was like, the library is the best part of it. I always checked books out and read them and stuff. Every single school I went to. Even in 3rd and 4th grade when I was in a German-speaking Catholic school, despite not being Catholic. I was one of 4 kids there that weren't Catholic at the school. Sometimes we'd have to go and like just hang out in a room while the kids did confession or something. There was Holga, who was Protestant, and my friend Philippe, who was Jewish. And he was like my best friend, and we did origami all the time. It was really funny. My Austrian Jewish friend and this American Mormon kid, and their shared love of origami in Vienna, Austria. What the heck? Who wrote this zany life? Give me a break. But at the Manzana Library, fast forward to high school, my old high school library, they would just have really cool, interesting books. And I still don't think I found exactly the book that I read back then because it was by him. And it seemed like a summary of all his life's travels. So I always buy every book where I'm like, is that the one? It means I've got a few books on Captain Sir Richard Francis Burton. I mean, this guy just had the gonzo spirit of adventure. I mean, he was like, I want to see all the world. I want to know everything. He had like such an omnivorous hunger for learning and experience, and was a real inspiration to me when I read about him in high school. I was like, I want to be like that. And I kind of did. I had really big, crazy adventures. I've walked across America. I've hitchhiked all over Canada, and from Alaska down to the U.S. I hiked, like walked over the course of a year up the East Coast for a charity hike from Florida to Canada. You know, different lives forever ago. I've done really big literary projects, like chapters that are bigger than a lot of writers' books and like more work intensive. And I'm like insane with the amount of work I put into this dumb book that I hate now. I'm just kidding. I feel like it's my, it's its own gonzo thing. You know, find what you love and let it destroy you. Who said that dumb quote? Fine, I'll live it. Anyway, this book looks cool. I'm even kind of coming around on the cover. The cover's just a lot of bells and whistles. I feel like that's something that, of course, the heater goes off while we're trying to talk. Sounds really cool. I have a handful of books in my collection that I just keep because the people that gave them to me liked them so much. And they're like, you gotta read this. This is from a long ago friend. Yeah. Dazzling in its darkness. All she said was, this is my favorite book, you should read it. I never have. It's really outside of the normal stuff I read. I don't really read vampire books. But I've seen some Anne Rice-based movies and enjoyed them, so I could probably get into it. Vampires are interesting. I like some vampire movies. Like Werner Herzog's Nosferatu is like one of my favorite movies. Note I said Werner Herzog's Nosferatu. I was not as keen on the new one. And the original is great, but it's a very justified remake because technology allowed to film in darkness, etc. Yeah, we got to find that kitty a home. It's a little cute black and white tuxedo cat. Here's another Clifford D. Simek book. Pastoral sci-fi. What a specific gig. Apparently, it's a subgenre. I mean, that cover, dang. I bought this at the downtown library. Has a room where they just sell books all the time. It's like a fundraiser for the library people, and the selection is often quite good. The best stuff from the library system, though, is in these like once-a-month sales and in the big 6-month sales. They just have so much stuff, and they're constantly weeding and updating their collections and stuff. It's kind of cool. I really should work at a library. My favorite job ever, I realized, was working at a bookstore. No, I should get my teaching license. But teaching jobs can be library jobs, too. I mean, I don't know. I'm about to go to a meeting on strong cities, like in local government. I'm like, what? Is this a turning point? Am I like getting too involved in things? No, but it's kind of a cool idea to, like, I don't know, care about your community, I guess. Try to make it better. I haven't read this one, but I will because I read 2 other books by him, and they're both good. One I loved. That's just a great cover, though. I could like look at that all day. Again, another book I want just on my wall as a poster or something. I need to make some big color copies at a local copy shop sometime and buy some frames. October Country. This is a really cool Ray Bradbury collection. It's not the most common Ray Bradbury collection. I would say that's The Illustrated Man or The Martian Chronicles. Those are really like a cohesive, larger story, though, too. Definitely The Illustrated Man. Oh, no, Fahrenheit 451's a novel. Anyway, this is not one of the most common Ray Bradbury books you see out there, but it's got some of my absolute favorite stories of his in it, including The Scythe, which is just like all-time great golden age sci-fi story, for sure. Full of literary merit, would make a great movie. It is on my to adapt list. This family discovers this farmhouse just being given away for free, but the previous owner is lying dead in bed with a scythe in his hand. And so that when they take the house, they take the contract of the scythe. This man suddenly has this urge to cut wheat in this field behind the place. In fact, he can't not do it. And it's so cool. I don't want to say more than that because you should read it. It's not that long, and you can probably find it free online. Good story. I don't know. I don't generally care about spoilers or whatever. And I suppose this chapter just says whatever. But Ray Bradbury's great. I think maybe a fun anthology project would be at some point in the future if I ever had just like publishing connections to like use as I wanted. It'd be good to see, and then I'd like to put like together an anthology of like best Bradbury stories. I don't know.